When you came here nearly 2 years ago, you said you had a plan in place for the Knicks. After this week's trades, where are you in executing your plan?
Well, I think we have a lot of room under the cap after the season is over. And what it really gives us is flexibility. And we had no flexibility 2 years ago. We're over the cap. There weren't great trades out there. We had draft picks, which we tried to use the right way. But, you know, in order to build a team and to do it the quickest, I thought, when I looked at all this, I thought, well, it's going to help us if we can get under the cap. I think we got under further than I thought we could. But it's been painful because I also said, you know, we'd like to be competitive. And I think game to game we're competitive, but not in the playoff race, at least not last year. And this year, you know, we'll see as we go on. But I always knew the second year would be the most painful because it was going to be very difficult to improve the team over the summer with the restrictions of not taking a contract that would interfere with next summer. So that proved to be true. A very frustrating summer.
Now, do you think that people are getting too caught up in just this summer's free agency and talking about 2 max free agents when there are other opportunities in 2011 and down the road as well?
Yeah, I do. And I tell them, you know, when I'm interviewed, I say it all the time. But there's only, you know, they throw names out that I've never thrown out. And, you know, like 2 maxes. I've never said we need 2 maxes. If you ask me, do you have enough money for 2 maxes? Yeah. And if that's the best thing to do, we might do it. But we're going to look at the situation when we get there and try to build the best team we can. And it might have 2 maxes, it might not, you know. But I think we're in a position where we can be very flexible in the way we approach it.
Now you have Tracy McGrady, and while he hasn't played much basketball in the last 2 years, what do you think he can do for the Knicks these last 29 games?
Well, he's a major talent. He's not, you know, he's on the level of the guys that you're reading about every day now. And he just hadn't played for a year or two. But I think if he can get his health back to 80 to 90%, then he's not just a very good player, he's close to being a great player.
What did you think about Tracy's comments about taking less money next season and staying in New York for the long run if he could be surrounded by a couple superstars?
Well, what I took out of that comments he made yesterday was that he couldn't understand why somebody wouldn't want to play in New York. I feel the same way. I don't care who it is. If you got an opportunity to play here, first of all, in the city itself, which is one of the greatest, if not the greatest city in the world, and after coming here and seeing what Madison Square Garden's like, we're filling the arena and we don't have, you know, great record. People are passionate about basketball. And so it's a great place to come and play. And it brought me back to when I used to bring my Indiana teams in here. You know, I just thought it was because they were deep in the playoffs like we were, but it isn't. It's the whole city, I think, is very, very in tune to basketball, and it's an emotional thing with them.
So with these changes at the trade deadline, what do you hope the Knicks can do the rest of the season?
I want us to play good basketball, to be tough when it calls for being tough. I'm talking about mentally and physically, but not overboard. And I want to see if we can make plays when the games are online, and who can do it, both defensive and offensive.